Welcome to Terrible Box. The veil thins on Halloween night. For centuries, the night of October 31st has held a unique and potent place in the human psyche. It is a threshold, a liminal space where tradition holds that the veil between the world of the living and the realm of the dead becomes perilously thin. In the modern era, this ancient belief persists, cloaked in the festive guise of costumes and candy. Yet, beneath the veneer of celebration, a deeper, more primal awareness lingers. It is a night when the familiar can become strange, and the shadows in our homes can seem to take on a life of their own. The stories that follow are the most compelling and unsettling submissions we received after Halloween 2024. They represent a more intimate and arguably more terrifying form of horror, the quiet, inexplicable violation of the mundane. The true terror often lies in the impossible event that occurs within the perceived safety of one's own familiar spaces. A chain lock is a simple object. A call bell is a closed circuit. When these things behave impossibly, the fear is not simply of a ghost, but that the very fabric of reality has begun to fray in the one place we feel most secure. These are not merely ghost stories. They are accounts of reality itself becoming haunted.
The chain on the door. For Sarah, a single mother, the small apartment she shared with her teenage daughter Chloe was more than a home. It was a fortress. After leaving her husband, every detail was a deliberate act of establishing safety. This was especially true of the door. An unsettling incident, maintenance men entering while Chloe was home alone, had shattered their sense of security. From that day forward, a new ritual was born, centered on the simple, solid reassurance of the brass chain lock. When Sarah left for her evening shift on Halloween, she heard the familiar, reassuring clink and slide of the chain being put on. She then locked the deadbolt from the outside with her key. The chain was Chloe's domain, a physical barrier she alone controlled. The call came just after 10 p.m. It was a FaceTime, and Chloe's face was pale, her eyes wide with a fear that was more than teenage theatrics. "Mom," she whispered, her voice trembling. She flipped the camera. The phone was pointed at their front door. The deadbolt was thrown, but above it, the brass chain was taut, firmly securing the door from the inside. Sarah's first reaction was confusion. "Chloe, I don't have time for games. Just take the chain off when I get home." "I didn't put it on," Chloe insisted, her voice cracking. "I was in my room. I came out to get a drink and it was like this. I can't get out." A cold knot tightened in Sarah's stomach. She knew, with a certainty that defied logic, that what her daughter was saying was impossible. The chain could only be engaged from within. She had been the last one to leave. The two actions were mutually exclusive. "I'm telling you, I didn't touch it." Chloe was crying now. "I heard that clicking sound, the long click the chain makes when it slides on." Sarah's mind raced. A break-in? But the deadbolt was still locked. No one could have gotten in to slide the chain. The chain, their symbol of safety, had become the lock on a cage. For months, they had joked about a presence in the apartment, a feeling of being watched that they'd nicknamed It. to strip it of its power. Now, the joke was over. It had demonstrated a terrifying, intelligent mastery of their physical world. It had taken the very object of their security and turned it into an instrument of imprisonment. It was a message. I am here. I can touch things, and I can lock you in with me. Okay, Chloe, listen to me, Sarah said, grabbing her car keys. Go to your room and lock your door. I'm coming home. I'm coming right now. She ran from her office, leaving her to face the terrifying drive home, wondering what exactly was waiting on the other side of a door that could possibly not be locked.
The things we trust to protect us can be turned against us. If these true encounters chill you to the bone, subscribe to Terrible Box. Reality is often more terrifying than fiction. Turn on notifications so you never miss another story from the edge of the explainable. The Visitor in the Hat. The Halloween party had dwindled. What had been a lively gathering was now just a handful of friends scattered across a dimly lit living room. It was in this quiet, liminal space between celebration and sleep that Liam first saw him. Out of the corner of his eye, he registered a flicker of movement near the front door, a shadow detaching itself from other shadows. He turned his head to look directly, and the mundane explanation evaporated. It was not a person, and it was not a shadow. It was a void. A solid, three-dimensional mass of pure black, shaped like a tall, slender man. The most distinct feature was the clear silhouette of a wide-brimmed cowboy hat. It walked with a tangible sense of purpose, striding from one side of the entryway to the other before disappearing into the adjoining hallway. Liam's mind recoiled, scrambling for a rational foothold. "My eyes are playing tricks on me. The lighting is weird." He said nothing, turning back to the conversation he was no longer a part of. To speak it aloud would be to make it real. He felt a profound and sudden isolation, the chilling possibility that his perception of reality had just fractured. A few moments passed in thick, tense silence. He could feel his friend Maya looking at him. Instead, she leaned in close, her voice barely a whisper, a conspiratorial breath of pure ice against his ear. "You saw it too, didn't you?" The words landed with the force of a physical blow. In that single terrifying question, all of Liam's carefully constructed rationalizations shattered. The horror was no longer a private, internal glitch. It was an objective, external event. The impossible thing he had seen was real. The terror of the sighting itself was nothing compared to the terror of this confirmation. It was the horrifying realization that the rules he had taken for granted were breakable. A strange, sickening relief washed over him, the relief of not being alone in his madness, immediately followed by the far greater horror that it wasn't madness at all. It was real. They had both seen the man made of shadow, the visitor in the hat, who had walked through their world as if he owned it.